What's going on, everybody? I'm Ryan, back with Locker Room Debates, and the NFL Draft has officially passed. And here are my grades for the team and players that drafted everybody. So, throughout the draft, let's get started. First, we're going to start with the NFC. So, the Arizona Cardinals, I give them a B plus. They went heavy on the defense, not much offense, but I think the defense wins championships. I think they got a big time haul and a lot of good guys, especially Will Johnson from Michigan. Falcons, they only had 5 picks and 4 of them were defensive players, so give them a B. Panthers, I think they were a B as well. They got a lot of good players, but just nothing too big yet to help them since they're still a young team coming out for future years, but they'll be good in the future. Chicago Bears, give them a B minus for this draft. I think that number 10 and that number 39 pick, great players that they picked up, but needed more of the offensive line to help out for Caleb Williams. Maybe some defense since they already had those big offensive weapons before. Dallas Cowboys, I give them an A. They picked up a lot of players, especially beefing up that O-line after a few injuries and people retiring. So they got a lot better with their O-line and then defensive players as well. Then we got the Detroit Lions, B minus. I give them. Green Bay Packers, I think B plus. They picked up 2 very good wide receivers and then lots of other defensive players, mix of stuff. Rams, B minus. They didn't have too many picks, but were half and half on offense and defense. Minnesota Vikings, give them a C plus. They really didn't do. They had a mix of both offense and defense for draft picks, but nothing really stood out too much from that Minnesota Vikings team, that draft. New Orleans Saints, they could have done a lot with that number 9 pick. I think that number 40 pick at QB, we'll see. I think there was a lot of other better QB options out there, but that number 9 pick, they could have had anybody at QB that they could have got, and I don't think the Saints did enough to fill that hole at QB. Giants, I'll give them an A minus. I think that first round they did amazing. Abdul Carter, Jackson Dart, these guys are going to be serious threats in the future. And then Cam Skattebo too. They're going to have good offensive and defensive weapons here in the next few years. Philadelphia Eagles, coming off that Super Bowl championship, I give them an A. I think they retooled a lot, but they got a lot younger and a lot better as well. 49ers, A minus. They had a mix of a lot of stuff from offense and defense, but they got a lot of young guys coming in as well. Seattle Seahawks, same thing, offense and defensive weapons, young, A, I give them. Buccaneers, I give them a B. I think they're big ones. They got 2 very amazing wide receivers from Ohio State and Oregon. Great pickups. Washington Commanders to round out the NFC, I give them a B minus. I think they had a mix of offense and defense. Nothing too big stood out, but they kind of just retooled a little bit. Now moving into the AFC, Ravens, they had the most picks in this year's draft. I give them an A. They got a lot of good talent coming in. Buffalo Bills, same thing. I think A, they picked up a lot of defensive pieces. Their offense, they got a good offense already. So defense wins you championships, and they got a lot better on defense. Bengals, give them a B minus here. They kind of didn't do. They got their defense good, but no big pieces on offense. But defense, I'll give it to them, but still B minus. Cleveland Browns, I think they won this year's draft after trading away that number 2 pick. They got a haul for that. And then they still were able to get Shedeur Sanders in round 5 as well. Mason Graham. Browns, they're going to be good in the next few years. And they got Dylan Gabriel too. They got 2 young QBs to battle it out, see who gets maybe a starting spot potentially. Denver Broncos, I give them an A minus. They made the postseason last year, so they got good talent coming in on both sides of the ball. Houston Texans picked up a lot of pieces. I give them a B plus here. Got a couple wide receivers, offensive tackle, another QB, defensive tackle. Indianapolis Colts, I give them an A minus. They picked up a big time tight end, and then they also picked up another QB as well. So they look decent as well this year's draft. Jaguars, I give them a B minus. Honestly, could have been a C plus in my opinion. Obviously, they got the big piece in Travis Hunter, the Heisman winner. But trading all that for specifically this guy, we'll see how it plays out in the next few years for sure. Who won this draft? Who won the trade in the draft? Chiefs, I give them a B. I think they really didn't need to do too much, but they still were able to fill holes that they were missing after losing the championship last year. Raiders, I give an A plus. They picked up a lot of good pieces on both sides of the ball, especially Ashton Jeanty will be a beast in that offense. And coming in with a new QB, Geno Smith, as well as a new coach, Raiders will be dangerous in a few years. Chargers, I give a B plus to. I think they picked up some all right weapons on both sides of the ball. Miami Dolphins, I give an A minus to. Offense is there. Defense, they picked up a lot of good pieces, and then they got Quinn Ewers too, a good backup young QB to go behind Tua. Patriots, I give them an A plus as well. I think they've won the whole offseason so far. They picked up so many pieces in this year's free agency, but also the draft as well, filling out that offensive line. They got so many weapons over here in the next few years to be amazing again. New York Jets, I give a B. They picked up a good O-lineman, but still needed a few other O-line pieces, but they picked up some good future pieces. Steelers, I give a B plus. It depends on how they view Will Howard. I think if he's their guy, then that's great. But I think they could have had so many better pieces, especially at that number 21 pick too. Could have had Jackson Dart, Shedeur. You could have had any of the QBs. Tennessee Titans, I give them an A minus. I think they got their guy Cam Ward, the best QB coming out of the draft. And then they got a lot of other good young talent to be good in the next few years. So, but in my opinion, I think Patriots and Browns won this year's draft. But make sure to comment below what you guys rate my draft rankings out of. And now I want to hear what you guys think about what you draft your teams for. So be sure to comment, like, and subscribe. And I'll see you next time. Thanks.